Hello and welcome to round number 4 with Death Shadow Aggro. Yeah, should I keep this on the play? I think it's okay. Three draws to hit a land. I'm okay with putting my opponent effectively on the play for that. So, I'm okay with 3 draws to hit a 17 outer. I think this hand plays out very well if I do hit, so. I just need to be able to get Blood Crypt. So let's see. Whew! That was lucky. That's wrong. I'm supposed to do this so I have full information before I Thoughtseize. Because the card on top of my library is just going to go into my hand. I don't really care. So I know they're drawing a Marsh Flats. Let's not accidentally misclick on our Death Shadow. That would be bad. Interesting. The Asylum Visitors are super interesting. So we've got Seize, Helix, which I don't care about, Terminate, which is obnoxious, but I would rather take the Thoughtseize, I think. And then you've got Crypt, Foundry, and 2 Asylum. So I think I'm supposed to take Thoughtseize and deprive my opponent of information there. It's a very good draw. I was going to play that tapped, and I need to think about how I can best clear the way for this Death Shadow. I think I'm supposed to play Nicodle here off of this. Because I don't just want to, like, if my Death Shadow just gets terminated, that's just horrific. Just straight up, like, unplayably horrific. This is pretty good. I have the growth for the Helix. Is this a visitor? Sure. Well, I'm going to Thoughtseize. Getting to some scary territory here. I think I have to take the Terminate. There's a Souls, a Helix, and another Visitor. I think there might be a Swiss Spear on D here. 7 seems like a very reasonable and measured place to stop. I would like to save my creature. Yeah, I'd like to save this. I don't know if I want to pay life or not. 5 is 7. So you think about, I guess 5, no, I can't go to 5 because that's Helix plus, an attack from Lingering Souls for 2. So I have to make this exchange, stay at 7, and then I have to basically draw a Battle Rage. That Lingering Souls is a pretty big issue. Don't think my opponent knows it quite yet. Yep, so I know they have Visitor and Souls. Use that. So going to 4 is actually not threatening in this short term. I don't really need another white source, so we'll get this. So I think I just want to maximize my damage this turn. My opponent's at a pretty high life total. Also, I'm maximizing my shadow for next turn. I guess my opponent can now play Asylum Visitor and draw a card. Conveniently, that fetch puts them at exactly dead to Battle Rage. I guess the drawback of taking 2 there is that after the first Souls hit, all my cyclers are dead draws, which is a bit scary. Just add like 6 dead draws to my deck. Eight. So my opponent is, if they play Souls, they're in must block or die to become immense territory, which realistically I think their best choice is just to ignore that and take the damage and live their life. Mutagenic is 4, 5, 6, is 1 short. That's a pretty good one. So that's 5, 7, 16. I could put my opponent to 2. I like 2. 2 does some things against Asylum Visitor. You know, just like forced card draws. I guess if I bolt a token... So the thought I originally had was I bolt a token and that forces my opponent into a... Yeah, that was better. If I bolt a token, I force my opponent to a situation where they can attack me for 1, and then they flashback. Oh, I just died. Okay. I could have died to... I thought I was playing around Bolt, but I guess I died to Kolagon's Command, which is not a card I considered playing around there. But the thought with the Bolt here was that if my opponent attacks me to 1, they can't have any of their spirits die next turn. Yeah. Oh well. I did not think 3 versus 2 was relevant. So we just boarded against this deck a couple rounds ago. This card, as evidence there, kind of awkward. I boarded out Tomb, which I liked. Board down on Become Immense, and I boarded out, I believe, 1 Battle Rage. Like, bolting my opponent there is better if they draw an answer to the Death Shadow, because they end up at 5 versus 2. I guess 2 Swiss Spears versus 5 is a fine position to be in. The reason my gut instinct was to make that play was that I wanted any spell I drew to make the Swiss Spears both lethal. Though I guess if I bolt the thing, then bolt the spirit, then mutagenic growth is not lethal on the Swiss Spears, because it's only +3, so the one that gets pumped goes to 4. Battle Rage is also not lethal because double striking. I guess it is because of the Death Shadow, but if the Death Shadow dies, yeah, the play I made is I think that's the worst play against just Flashback Lingering Souls. So I'm forced to draw something. Yeah, I should have bolted the Spirit. Not only because for reasons other than the reason that I lost that game. Magic Online just likes to hop windows around on occasion. This is okay. These matchups against decks like the ones my opponent's playing that have Lightning Bolt and evasive threats are really tricky. So, like, one of the ways this deck used to die was, like, you just get, like, Snapcaster, Bolt, Deceiver, Exarch, tap your thing out of nowhere. So I know my opponent has a Shambling Vent. That is not really the draw step I wanted. I guess it's okay with that. So I want to hit a creature. It's basically the best possible. Oh, okay, losing that to a 2 damage spell. Opponent knows my entire hand, so there's no hidden information being given away there. And if I use the fetch that turn, I actually wanted to Temur Battle Rage. Oh, I should have played that untapped. I just am so used to playing other decks that I just default to that. I should have taken 2. It'd go 16, 13. Yeah. Yeah, it's very weird to have to subvert like your instincts of how you actually play your lands with this deck. You're used to actually trying to conserve life totals. As opposed to just, throwing away your life to enable your best cards. It's a good sign. We didn't get EOT Helix or anything. Hopefully our opponent doesn't just have something silly like Kalitas here. That'd be sorely disappointing. Just an Asylum Visitor? That's fine by me. I'm going to use a Battle Rage here. It's kind of awkward that if I use the Battle Rage, then my opponent bolts, I'm kind of locked into mutagening. Interesting. Well, in that case, I was assuming my opponent was going to block. I'm just going to deal them 3. Play the world's least threatening Death Shadow. That still survives the Lightning Bolt. Does not survive that, sadly. But that was bound to happen. And we get awkwardly rewarded for our very bad decision a few turns ago. Helix that. I'm going to pay the mana here. It's slightly worse if I draw another shadow, but I think on this board state I'd actually rather just not die as fast as possible. I think I'm just supposed to bolt that down. Not let my opponent draw cards and get into the game that way. And should I spew off a Battle Rage here? I don't think that gets me anything. It's just like converting a Battle Rage into 3 damage, but if my opponent has the spot removal at the top, I don't think the 3 damage matters. Now I still have a Battle Rage. Yep. Now my opponent's supposed to attack, go to 13. They're winning this race slowly but surely, but it's not the worst thing in the world. That 3rd power on Asylum Visitor is actually some real business against Wild Nacatl. Save the fetch for a number of reasons. The most important one being if I draw Step Links, the second Step Links that is. Yeah, I could have spewed off my trick, which is just bad in the face of everything else. Good against my opponent top taking double Inquisition, but... So 5. This can fetch a basic, though, so I should remember that. So if I draw Ranger Vios, I can go to 4 and play a Death Shadow, which is pretty huge. I think this is the turn I have to hold back. I was okay with trading small chip shots of damage there. But now going to 3 is kind of the danger zone. I guess I should have played one of these fetches. So that if I Step Links... Though, actually, no, I only have 5 fetchable lands in my deck. That's probably enough to win the game on my opponent's side. Yeah, 4 lands in a row was not the cards I needed to draw up there. These Jund matchups are pretty 50-50, I think. You might be a little behind, but it's basically the story of Jund. You're not going to dominate anyone. I'm not sure what the thing to do to beat Jund is. If there's like more Ranger Vios, doesn't feel like the answer. Well, dead. Just want to know. I don't even get to know.